hi, I'm Laura. There was a really cool, it was interesting hearing all of the talks yesterday and how the biggest piece takeaway that I saw from the beginning when Paula was speaking to the end when Peter was speaking was all about thinking about our audience. So it's kind of fantastic that we're going to go a little bit deeper and talking about the top of your audience, the people who are most passionate about what you do, your power users, your super fans, your community. So at HTC, we have a remarkable, amazing community called HTC Elevate. These are 3,000 members globally across the Americas, EMEA, and Asia who are ridiculously passionate about our brand to the point where their blood bleeds green. So they are the ones who are always telling their friends about our latest devices. And they will travel from near and far just to come and see us and help us lift our brand. We're not number one, we're definitely not number two. So we have this unique opportunity to really partner with the people who care about us the most and work together. We call them super fans, we call them top customers, we also call them advocates. So whenever I talk to people about HTC Elevate and our community, they always ask us, oh my God, that's amazing. You work with 3,000 influencers? How does that work? Well, it's not influencers to the point where everybody in this room will think of them as influencers. So I like to break it down a little bit. Over there in the big, massive globe is your fans, the people who like you on Facebook, the people who follow you on Twitter, Instagram, et cetera, wherever you are as a brand and your channels. Those are people who just like your page. They might share it, they might leave a comment, but if they're the average person like myself, I don't know how many thousand, or maybe it's hundreds, I don't think I'm up to thousands, of pages on Facebook that I like just because I want to keep track of them. I may not be a customer. I'm never going to buy a Tesla just because it's probably not going to be a real thing. But I follow them. Why not? Everybody does, right? So those are your fans. Those are the people who you play with on Facebook, you talk to, they may not necessarily talk back. Over there in the gray, these are where the influencers live. Influencers exist in thousands, hundreds, et cetera. Influencers, whenever they're working with a brand, they're motivated by two things. First is by building their own brand and by working with their own audience. So I've run a number of different influencer campaigns and partnered with influencers, and not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to make sure that your brand matches with their brand and that you both can help drive the value that will benefit both audiences. But also influencers have gotten smart. It's now a pay to play. They can't just, you can't just swoo them and say, hey, would you post this, selfie on Twitter using our phones in exchange for a product? Everybody's running their own business as well, so unless you have budget to actually say, hey, create this content, it's gonna be hard to work together. Where our sweet spot is in that smaller circle where advocates live. Advocates come from Facebook communities. Some of them have influence. A lot of times it's influence that's offline versus online. And then that's kind of where we like to live and where we like to break it down as far as saying, they're advocates, they've got followers, they've got influence, but it's not necessarily, their audience is not as big as influencers. So why do they matter? Why do advocates matter? It's because they actually do things and they talk. I'm sure everybody in this room has somebody in your social circle or your friends and family who you go to if you're gonna buy a new car, if you're gonna buy the latest tech, if you're gonna buy something. In the world of the lazy web, I just go to Facebook and say, hey, I'm looking for X, anybody have any feedback on that, right? We no longer have to actually search your reviews because we have these people in our group who actually, who are part of that 83% that are going to share information. Why? Because they're doing it offline already, so of course they're naturally going to share this information online as well. Also, 50% are most likely to influence a purchase. I've been in the market for a new DSLR camera, so I've been going to my friends who are the photographers and asking them, what do they think? Naturally, my friend who is more invested in Sony than Canon is going to sway me towards Sony. Why? Because that's what he likes. And then finally, the last piece, which is where kind of the heart of the matter is. 92% of consumers trust recommendations from friends and family over any form of advertising. Everybody in this room, we know as soon as we smell an ad, it turns us off, right? So again, we turn to Facebook, we turn to our friends. What do you recommend? What's the cool thing? That's essentially why people are turning towards advocate marketing, trying to find those top of the top fans who are, defending you on Facebook, who are combating the trolls first, who go into forums and, post comments on your brand's behalf before you even ask them to. This is why we've built this community and kind of our driving force behind it. So who are they? This is Vito. He's one of our top members out in the New York City area. He is a self-proclaimed HTC pusher. He will introduce himself to anybody in this room, any of our top executives as that. He's been buying and using our phones for over 10 years back when we were an OEM. He loves our products and our brand so much that his girlfriend finally said, Vito, you need to go work for them in some way. So he works for a carrier back east. He is amazing. Every time I meet him, he knows way more about our products than probably anybody else at the company other than some of the engineers, right? So he always is teaching me some new cool trick. As part of our community, our advocates and our fans are super, super, super deeply connected to the brand in a way that some of my colleagues aren't even. They're so passionate and in this very personal way. I mean, we make smartphones, which is at the center of your life, so it kind of makes sense. But this kind of demographic, this breakdown of who these people are can exist in any brand. I'm sure there's some, just kind of being in the social space, working with startups, there's some brand that you've been a fan on before it broke, before it made something big, and this is kind of my describe how you are. And then finally, they're honest and authentic and ridiculously critical. They're the first ones, as soon as we come out with a new product or a new phone, they're the ones that say, oh my God, you rocked it, I cannot wait, please take my money, like, let's do this. Here's, I'm gonna tell all my friends, we're gonna get everybody on it. They're also, so super authentic and also critical. As soon as we come out with a product, they're the first to say, you kind of fucked up, what are you guys doing? It's great. A lot of people ask, they're like, why do we wanna talk to Elevate? They're just gonna, make you feel good, which is true. I mean, it is kind of nice to like go in and talk in, a private forum and be like, yep, you're doing a good job, this is great. But then they're also, super, super passionate about when we aren't. And it's actually kind of a great debate within the community as far as, certain members will say, hey, this person doesn't like what we're doing, should they really be in here? And yes, like that's what social's all about. Social's about like telling us the good and the bad. So, what exactly do you do? Here's, sorry to ruin it for you, but it's a pie chart. You got to figure out what they want out of, working with you, out of being part of your company, part of your brand, kind of bringing in, kind of seeing things behind the door. You got to figure out what you want, what's going to make your bosses happy, what's going to keep this going, what's going to help you drive your brand and move it forward, and you got to meet somewhere in the middle. So your motivations. Kind of, when working with communities and anything on social, it's really hard to distill things down to like one objective and one KPI. But essentially, figure out like, are you working towards word of mouth? Working with advocates and super fans, that's a form of marketing speak called earned marketing, which means that you're getting people to do things for you for free because you earn their trust, you earn their loyalty and whatnot. So an output of that could be social activation. We came out with this new product, here's all the info, go share about it, go talk about it, go do something. Is it innovation? I'm sure, everybody, I've got a number of brands in my back pocket that I am crazy obsessed with and love, and if they came to me and asked me, hey, we're thinking of doing this, what do you think? I'd be all over that. And it's kind of almost like what Clay was talking about with the crowdfunding yesterday, by asking, people in your community and your audience to come in and be a part of that journey, you help make it stronger. So it could be new products. Last piece, insights. Again, everybody in this room has somebody in your company, somebody in your fan community that tells you how to do your job, how they think that, you can make your products better. So ask them. You've got this prime opportunity of people who just are ready to give you information, so pull that information out of them. Get that research, get that feedback, and, do something with it. So then what do they want out of it? What's their motivations? This, again, was one of the biggest pieces of opportunities that we give to our members is every time we launch a new phone or a new product, we secure 20 seats in the front row so that our executives are not necessarily met with the quiet typing and heads down of the media, but are met with smiles and cheers. So this was earlier this month, we launched a number of new products in a new category for us. I'm sure all of our executives were on stage super nervous, what are they going to perceive, what's it going to be like, but instead they had cheers. So that's one of the biggest perks that we reward for participation. Insider access, that's one of the things that really it's super, I'm going to say, easy to do, but really it takes a lot of legwork and coordination just to make sure that you get other executives and other participants inside your company, whether it's designers, engineers, and whatnot, to just talk to your end users and say, they just want to know what you do during the day. They want to share, so our members, they want to share their opinions, they want to influence the company. I mean, again, who doesn't want to tell somebody else how to do their job, how to make their stuff better? Exclusive offers and perks, this is like front row here at the launch. That's probably one of the biggest like bragging rights that we get for our top members. They also want to see their results. Nobody wants to just sit in a room and talk into an echo chamber and have nobody listen or pay attention. So, if they help you build a better mousetrap, show them the mousetrap and say, you helped us influence this. And then kind of the last piece as far as motivation and kind of what they get and what they enjoy, it's recognition. It's like that, hey, you created a good photo with our product, we're gonna post to everyone on Facebook and tag your name because you're awesome. It's thank yous, like actually saying thank you. And then also, like, our members are actually ridiculously motivated by swag, and especially swag that like nobody else can get anywhere. So it's fantastic, which I love swag too, so we're on board there. All right, so that's kind of the pie chart. So now, how does it happen? What are, the tools to help you actually create this piece and get the value out of these folks? First, you got to figure out your platform and your partner. Depending on the size of your user group, the smaller it is, the more you can just have one-on-one connection. If you're an early stage startup and you're in beta mode and you have 20 people on board who you want to really get their insights about how to make your product amazing, you can do one-on-one conversations. You could do it over email. As you get larger into more of the hundreds and even thousands, then you got to come up with something so that you can actually scale into your job, because we've got 3,000 members. There's no way I can meet every single one of them and actually sit down and have a conversation and then be able to have some kind of output from that. So as you get larger, you need more resources, more staffing, and then also a platform. We work with a company out of Calgary called Chaotix, and they specialize in crowdsourcing. They work with companies like HTC and Lego and American Airlines to help get those insights and just take care of the community on the moderation side, and then also do analytics and the output so that we can actually, act on the things that we ask them. Third, you got to cultivate your community. We're working with people here, physical people who actually are, doing things for you out of the goodness of their heart because they love you, they're passionate, they're crazy obsessed about your brand and your products. You can't just, just like in any relationship, you can't just ask them to do things without giving something beforehand. It's like networking 101, it's dating, it's relationships, it's being a good person. So community is not something you can flip on, flip off. You gotta make sure that things happen all the time, and especially that they are primed and ready for whenever you need them to really do some huge activity. Third, deliver on your promises. Again, this is a big thing, big proponent that I do inside the community, is that if we ask them to do something, I wanna make sure that I can use those insights for something within the company. I don't believe in, just activities for activity's sake or research for research's sake. That's a waste of everybody's time. Nobody has enough time just to hang out and, not do something that's beneficial. So if you ask them to do something, deliver. That's kind of the main piece of that. All right, so in summary, how do you give and you get value? First, figure out who your power users are. Stock your own Facebook page. Who are those members and those individuals who always come to the top and are always asking, defending your brand, talking about your products before anybody else? Pull them out. Say, hey, I'd love to learn more. Send an individual email or a handwritten, pigeon, carrier pigeon, whatever. Something to say that, hey, we paid attention, we like what you have to say. To figure out the value, and work with, your management team, your directors, figure out what is the best way to get feedback from this power user group that's actually going to be beneficial for your company. If they're not interested in hearing what their users think to build the next product, don't talk about that. Talk about something else. Get some other kind of value. 3, ask what they want in exchange. Every 6 months, we poll our community and we ask them, what are the things that you enjoy most about being a member? What are the things that you want to see more of? And we actually did a huge insights cycle back in May where we spent 4 weeks asking all of those questions. The community has been around for 2.5, almost 3 years this winter. And as such, as social has evolved, as the company has changed, so has the community. And so we wanted to make sure that we didn't leave any of our core members behind as we shifted things around. And it's still a process, which is great. 4, what are your tools and your resources, and what are the things that you need to make that happen? Again, you can't just go and have coffee with everybody. You need something that's going to have actionable results that can help you do your job better. And then 5, how can you continue to cultivate the community? What's this relationship? What's the give and get that you can have? Is it something that they're, motivated by just endless amounts of swag and hats and socks? Sweet, that's perfect. It's a great in-between thing. And then finally, are you delivering on what you promise? If nobody likes to have the friend who's always asks and never gives back. So make sure that happens. And then if you're not sure exactly what they want, ask. Like I said, we are polling all the time, always asking questions about, what do our members want? What are they all about? And so it's super beneficial to just say, I'm listening. And that's what I have. I guess kind of cruise through that like everybody else. So I'm ready for questions if you are.